enhancing skill sets, networking, and to explore the incredible India awaits you.
We at ICAI are pleased to host you here in Mumbai, the financial capital of India, for the 21st World Congress of Accountants with the theme Building Trust, Enabling Sustainability from November 18 to 21, 2022, and give you a professionally enriching and personally rejuvenating experience. We are hopeful that the conference shall be stimulating and productive, and your stay in India will be a memorable experience. Once again, we invite you for this enthralling convergence in India, the land of multicultural, historical, and spiritual inheritance since centuries.
Insights from the stalwarts of the profession, international and national standard setters, regulators, and trendsetters will constitute the panel of speakers at WCOA 2022. Let your dream get bigger. Come, be a part of this mega celebration. For registration and sponsorship opportunities, contact. Organized by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India under the aegis of IFAC.
Okay. So friends, I am delighted to welcome today our chairman and vice chairman are in Raipur to attend a program, Train the Trainer. So we do not have the benefit of their presence in the webinar today. But anyhow, on behalf of our CPE committee, I am delighted to welcome you all in the webinar being organized by the continuing professional CPE committee of our institute. Friends, the profession of chartered accountancy has always been recognized for the quality of education, training, and strong grip over the technical standards. With globalization and increasing business complexity, it is essential that chartered accountants equip themselves with the changes occurring and stand out to the expectations of our society. Our institute is constantly working and contributing to cater to the needs and requirements of our members and has taken various initiatives for them from time to time in this direction. With this view, the continuing professional committee of ICAI has always been the foremost to provide opportunity to members to boost their knowledge base. So the program for this evening is today. We have two sessions, one of 1 hour each, and topics are CARO 2020 and Science of Happiness, which is very much required by the stress which CAs are facing nowadays in the profession. Our eminent speakers will talk about the above two emerging areas of professional interest. So now I'll introduce our first speaker of the session, Sasank Srivastav, who will be speaking on CARO 2020. So basically, I'm reading out the short profile of C. Sasank Srivastav, who is from Chennai, a practicing chartered accountant and also a law degree holder, who is a young person, started practice about 4 or 5 years ago only. He's a chartered accountant in practice for the last 3 years, who has exposure in various audit assurance engagement in various sectors. He's also a graduate in first class BCom from Madras University and LLB honors from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. He is currently a co-opted member in the expert advisory committee of ICAI. He has also assisted various authors in publication of books in relation to accounting and taxation. He is also a speaker for various continuous professional education CPE programs. And fortunately, we have him today also, which is conducted by ICAI on accounting standards, Indian accounting standards, and income tax. He is a lecturer in various institutions in the field of accounts, finance, and taxation. With this short introduction, I just have to inform that the faculty will be speaking for about 45 to 50 minutes. Then we'll have a last 15 minutes reserved for question and answer session. which will come on the screen. So then the speaker will have to reply to those queries. So now I request C.S. Sasank Srivastava to deliberate on this subject of CARO 2020.
Thank you,
Sasank?
sir. Yes, sir. So before I'd like to start my speech, I would like to thank the chairman, Rajkumar Adukia sir, and the vice chairman, Gyanchand Mishra sir, for giving me a wonderful opportunity to speak to Pan India, all the members of ICAI. It's a true honor, and it's a very big honor to be introduced by C.S. Santosh Hunta sir, who is there for 47 years in practice in this profession. So he's a mentor and well-wisher to all of us. So with that, we would start with the hot topic, which is there in all the CA's mind for the last 2 to 3 years, which is CARO 2020. So it's a very careful topic. That is why we have named it as Careful CARO 2020. So what is the most important thing is CARO is it was actually introduced on 25th February 2020 itself. CARO was introduced on 25th February 2020 itself. It has been extended from financial year 1920 to 2021, and then it has been extended from 2021 to 21-22 financial year. So it is applicable as per section 143(11) of Companies Act. So CARO is applicable as per section 143(11). What 143 tells is all the various provisions of what an audit report should carry out and what procedure of audit should carry out. 143(9) is to comply with auditing standards. 143(10) tells who should prescribe the auditing standards. 143(11) is CARO, relating to CARO. So as I said, it was applicable from 25th February 2020 onwards. They brought it, but they extended due to COVID. 2 years extension was given due to COVID. Financial year 21-22, it is applicable. So it is applicable to all the members who are preparing their audit report from this year onwards. So please be prepared. All the members should prepare the audit report as per CARO 2020, not the 2016, which was the erstwhile version, or 2013. We have to prepare as per 2020. So first we will see what are the applicability. So since it's a vast topic, there are around 21 clauses. What I would try to cover in this short 1 hour span is compare our 2016 CARO with our 2020 CARO. Very simple comparison is what are the additional clauses. So there were 16 clauses in CARO with a lot of subclauses. Now there are 21 clauses in CARO. So what are the additional clauses? What are the additions within clauses? We would be seeing all these particular items. So we'll see first for whom CARO is applicable. No change from CARO 2016. All companies should follow CARO. They have given some exceptions. What are the exceptions is banking company, insurance company, not-for-profit company, which is section 8 company, one-person company, that is single proprietor company. Last one is small company. So all these 5 companies are exempt. Apart from that, private limited companies, there are certain exemptions. So there also there is no change. So it order exempts only private limited company. So it is applicable for all public companies. So any public company, it shall be applicable. So private limited company, they have given certain exceptions. What are the exceptions is, it should not be a subsidiary or a holding of a public company. So that private company should not be a holding or a subsidiary. They should not hold more than 50% shares or be held by another company more than 50% share. So that shall not be done. Aggregate of paid up capital and reserve shall be less than 1 crore, less than or equal to 1 crore. So the net worth of the company should be less than or equal to 1 crore. And then total borrowings from banks or financial institutions should be less than or equal to 1 crore. Turnover should be less than or equal to 10 crores. So in this, it is applicable. The same applicability of 2016 is carried forward to 2020 CARO. That with certain exceptions to private limited company, which was given earlier on. Now, one very, very important change from the earlier CARO to the current CARO is, earlier company's report order does not have to be prepared for consolidated financial statements, whereas CARO 2020 has a separate clause. It has a clause number 21, which tells what you have to report in consolidated financial statements. So we will come to that in the end of our PowerPoint presentation. being the last clause of CARO. So 21 clauses are there. The 21st clause will be telling what is there in the consolidated financial statements CARO. So now, what are the requirements of CARO 2020 as compared vis-a-vis CARO 2016? So I'm just going to do a small comparison of what is required as per CARO 2016 and what is required as per CARO 2020. A small minute comparison where whatever changes are there, I've marked it in yellow color in my PowerPoint presentation. So what are the changes is CARO 2016, the first clause was for fixed assets. Now it is for property, plant and equipment because they have made the change in AS 10 as well as Ind AS 16 by changing the name of fixed asset as property, plant and equipment. The same change has been there in the heading. Apart from that, what are the changes? The first A clause is repeated, whether company is maintaining proper record showing full particulars, including quantitative details and situation of fixed asset. Same clause is repeating here. The second clause, here only changes property, plant and equipment. The second clause is, they have asked it separately for intangible assets. Earlier days, fixed assets was as a whole they saw. Now, tangible assets, a separate clause, whether you're having quantitative details and situation of tangible assets, that property, plant and equipment properly as per Ind AS 10, Ind AS 16, they have told whether you have. Second one, whether companies are maintaining particulars of intangible assets. So your patents, trademarks, copyrights, your goodwill, your brand, any intangible asset, whether the company has a proper record, whether it has a proper valuation, whether you have a proper theoretical setup to compute that particular intangible asset, whether you have a proper assumption to the life of the asset. So we will see all these key considerations which are being added, which an auditor needs to verify in this property, plant and equipment. The second clause, whether fixed assets, the same thing is being repeated, whether they are physically verified by management and with reasonable intervals, the same clause has been repeated. Third clause is whether title deeds are held in the name of the company, if not, provide details thereof. Here they have made a small change. Whether titles of all immovable property other than properties where the company is the lessee and the lease agreements are duly executed in the favor of lessee is disclosed in the financial statements. So now, other than properties where the company is lessee. So all lease agreements in favor of the company is also as good as, if there is a concept of finance lease, if it is more than 12 years, it is as good as the company's property as per accounting standards. So there they have given some exceptions in this particular clause. We will see that in greater detail in the key consideration. Then they have added two new clauses. Two new important clauses have been added in CARO 2020. What are the two new important clauses is? First clause is whether any asset has been revalued, whether any asset has been revalued by a registered valuer. If so, specify the change if it is 10% or more in the aggregate of net carrying value. Net carrying value is written down value, closing written down value of each of the assets, whether it is property, plant and equipment or intangible assets. You have to specify. You have to specify whether it is valued by registered valuer and any change 10% or more than the net carrying value. Next one is government is very critical in verifying Binami transactions. A lot of Binami transaction and beneficial owner transactions are going on. You have seen income tax department, they are taking a great detail. There was a special form released by MCA called BEN1 2 years back to find all the beneficial owners and the Binami of the owner. So they have a Binamidar. They're called as a Binamidar. So those own that transaction also you need to disclose. So who should disclose that transaction is the owner of the property will not disclose. Suppose the company is the Binamidar of the beneficial owner, you have to disclose such properties as the auditor. So a quick recap of what are the changes in requirement. First thing I told was separate reporting for property, plant and equipment and intangible asset instead of fixed asset as a whole. The first clause has changed into property, plant and asset and intangible asset as a whole. Then no reporting on title deeds where lessor and lessee agreement is there. This is the second change we saw. The same changes there. So I told you lessor, lessee. If the company is the lessee, you need not tell that there is no document, proper document, because nowadays a lot of places, whether in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, even now in Chennai, there are a lot of places where title deeds are not given. There is no sale deed. There is a lease deed for more than 12 years, 99-year lease, 999-year lease. So all these are very, very common. So you don't need to tell that they are not a non-compliance. So they are in compliance. The next item is new subclass D is added for specific reporting of revaluation. That also we have disclosed. New subclass E for Binami Transactions Prohibition Act for holding Binami property. So this is also a separate disclosure in CARO. Next one, what are the key points I told you? I've already discussed. Revaluation, you have to, assets should be revalued as per section 247 of Companies Act by registered valuers. So this valuation should be as per his documents. One more thing, as an since we are in auditing standards and CARO requirement in audit procedures, you have to follow SA 500, the use of management experts. You have to see whether he is independent enough, whether his calculations are proper, whether his assumptions are proper, and whether he is capable person to be a registered valuer as per section 247. Registered valuer, what you have to check is whether he has a certificate of registered valuer. So that defines the capability. So registered valuer, this is the definition. Next, Binami transaction, as I've told you that this clause is limited to cases where company is holding the property on behalf of somebody else. So they are called as Binamidar. Beneficial owner is the person owning the property, but instead of owning in his name, he's owning in the company's name. A lot of money is being stashed in shell companies like this. To protect and prevent shell companies from being created, we as a partner in nation building should disclose the same in CARO 2020. So these two additional clauses are there in CARO. The next important clause is inventory. The second clause in CARO is inventory. So what is there in inventory is the same thing which is there in the previous CARO has been continued here, but there is a small change. Whether in the opinion of the auditor. So previously it was whether the physical verification of inventory has been conducted at reasonable intervals by the management, and whether any material discrepancies were noticed. If so, whether they have properly dealt in books of accounts. So in this, what we have seen is, there is no separate disclosure. Materiality is a subjective topic. It is an ambiguous topic. So for you, one materiality will be different from another person. To curtail that, to close that gap, what happened is now the auditor has to have an opinion of whether in the opinion of auditor, the coverage of procedure of management is appropriate. So first that they have to disclose. So you have to comment on the procedural aspects, whether the company has done the procedure properly to verify the inventory. Second clause is for material discrepancy. They have brought in the clause of 10% or more. So what is material as per this clause is 10% or more in aggregate of each class of inventory, whether I have to disclose, whether there is any discrepancy more than 10%. So my physical stock and book stock, if there is difference more than 10%, you need to disclose the same. The next important point is a lot of companies had a complaint and the bankers had a complaint. The stock statement had a different disclosure to show the drawing power, and the stock and debtors as per my books of accounts were completely different. So there was a huge discrepancy between the stock and debtors given to bank in their stock statement for their working capital limits, as well as their stock and book debts in the debtors in their trade receivables in their schedule 3 balance sheet. To curtail that difference, also to make it easy for Income Tax Act. So a lot of unexplained investments have been disclosed. Unexplained investments have been shown because of the difference between stock and book debts as per books of accounts and your bank statement and your stock statement. So that discrepancy, income tax officials are also seeing. To bring that into the stakeholders reporting, the auditor must disclose for any person having a working capital limit in excess of 5 crores with bank or financial institution, you have to disclose the stock or debtors. So you have to disclose whether there is any difference, whether they are in agreement with the books of accounts or not. So the stock statement given and the books of accounts, whether they are the same, one and the same, you need to disclose as per CARO 2020. So what are the key changes? A quick recap of what are the key changes is auditor to report whether the coverage and procedure of physical verification by management is appropriate or not. This is a new consideration. You have to see whether management is doing the procedure correctly, whether they are following their procedural aspect for inventory valuation correctly. The second clause is whether there is a 10% change, 10% or more change in discrepancy in inventory valuation. Third one is the quarterly returns or stock statements filed with the bank should match with the books of accounts. Why they are doing this? To prevent false drawing power to the bank, to prevent a lot of fraudulent activity. One more thing is Income Tax Act, as a stakeholder, they can charge it as unexplained investment. So all these categorizations are there for this particular reporting. So you have to report in this current CARO. So these are the new clauses which are there in current CARO. This B part is a new subclause. The other one is there is a change. The material value has been given as 10% change from the older CARO. So a quick inventory verification. IAS2, what are the types of inventory? Raw material, works in progress, finished goods, stores, merchandise, goods in transit. 10% should be applied on the net basis. So anything should be applied on the net basis after adjusting excesses and shortages within a class of inventory. So raw material 10% or more difference you have to disclose. We are work in progress 10% or more within the category you have to disclose. Finished goods 10% or more within the category you should disclose. Stores and spares also the same thing. Goods in transit also the same thing. So materiality threshold you should not see. So why this clause was there is earlier each person materiality clause was different. It may be 15% for some people. It may be 5% for some people. It may be 25% for some people. It may be 2% for some people. So each company had their own materiality standards, and each auditor discretion was whatever value he thought of is a material item, he provided the same. Now they have standardized the material item. 10% is the particular material item. Apart from that, reporting in stock data, its basis of assets other than this clause is not required if the assets for security is other than current assets. So if it is other than stock and book debt, suppose you are getting overdraft against immovable property or an overdraft against a fixed deposit. So all these are other than current assets. The same need not be disclosed. The same need not be disclosed under this particular category. So only if the security is current asset, you need to disclose the same. Only if the security is current asset, you need to disclose the same. Also, one more key point is if the sanction limit is 5 crores or more, and even if the company has used only 1 crore of the limit or 50 lakhs lesser than the 5 crore limit they have used also, you have to disclose the same. You have to disclose the same. Sashank, it is what is this law? If it is I'm having more than 5 crores and I have not even used the working capital limit, should I disclose? I have not taken the working capital limit, the cash credit or overdraft as limit at all, but I have been sanctioned that limit. I'm only having a positive balance with the bank. Should I disclose the same? The answer is yes, because the sanction limit is if it's more than 5 crores, whatever stock statement and book debts are given to the bank, that should match with the books of accounts. So that is the most important requirement. So meaning of term sanction includes fresh sanction in the year as well as every year renewal is done. So that is also included. And monthly basis, you have to verify in month. Quarterly basis, you have to verify solely for the month of quarter. June quarter, July quarter, July to September means September quarter. The same thing you have to verify. So that was the second clause, which is inventory. So the clauses are remaining the same. 1, 2 are remaining the same as 2016. The new clauses are Just they are making small additions. So CARO clause 3 is relating to loans given to directors and related parties. Loan given to directors and related party, you should comply with section 185, 186 and 189. There is a separate clause for 185 and 186 later on in CARO. Here we are going to see the register to be maintained under section 189 of Companies Act. So related parties are defined under section 188 of Companies Act, and register is maintained. So the register for related parties is maintained as per section 189 of Companies Act. So whether companies have given loans, so this is remaining the same. Whether the companies have given loan secured or unsecured to companies, firms, LLP or any other parties covered in the registered maintained under section 189 of Companies Act, the same thing is given here. And then there is a change in the clauses. Whether during the year they have provided loans or provided advances in the nature of loans or stood guarantees or provided securities to any other entity. If so indicate the aggregate amount during the year and the balance outstanding at the balance sheet date with respect to such loans or guarantees given to subsidiaries, joint ventures and associates. And then you have to disclose to aggregate to other than subsidiaries, joint ventures and associates. So in this particular CARO clause, you have to disclose loans to related parties aggregate amount separately and loans apart from related parties separately. So previously in this clause, you need not disclose the amount. You need not disclose the entire amount. Whereas in the new CARO, you have to disclose the entire amount due to subsidiaries, joint ventures and associates and other than subsidiaries, joint venture and associates. The second clause is repeating whether the terms and conditions of the grant and loans and advances are not prejudicial to company's interest. Same clause, copy paste here. Third clause also copy paste whether the schedule of repayment as stipulated and whether the repayments and receipt are regular. Same clause repeated. D clause also amount overdue, state the amount overdue. Same clause repeated. Now, what is the special clauses is there are two new clauses. Whether any loan or advances or nature of loan which has fallen due during the year has been renewed or extended. So what companies used to do is, since you have to disclose the overdue loan, what they will do is cancel the old sanction and issue a fresh sanction to avoid CARO 2016. So to plug that loophole, the MCA as well as the NAFRA, what they have done is they have brought in this particular category. Whether any loans or advances in nature of loan which has fallen during the year has been renewed, extended, or fresh loans have been granted to settle the overdues of existing loans. So if any fresh loans are given to settle the old loans, you have to specify the same. You have to specify the same and you have to specify the percentage of aggregate to total loans during the year. So that you have to specify. This clause is not applicable to any companies whose principal business is to give loans. So NBFCs. So your NBFCs and all will not be covered under this particular clause. Apart from that, whether the company has granted any loans or advances in nature of loans, either repayable or demand or without specifying terms of repayment, then specify the loans amount percentage of loans granted to promoters, related parties as defined under section 276. So whether the company has granted any loans or advances without specifying any terms, that also you have to disclose. So two new disclosure. One is fresh sanction for old sanction. The second one is, the second clause is, if no conditions are mentioned for sanction, that also needs to be disclosed. That also needs to be disclosed. So those are the key changes. A quick recap is, loan given to any parties under section 189 was given earlier in 2016 CARO. Now they just omitted that word. So it means that related parties as well as non-related parties are covered under this clause. So related parties is covered under A, non-related is covered under B. And then next changes, whether loans are provided to group entities that we have seen, you have to report. You have to report that. An additional loan reporting for loan renewed or re-extended or fresh sanction given for old loans that has been given, that also you have to check. And the last one is repayable on demand without specifying any terms. The same shall be disclosed as per CARO 2020. So this requirement is there. You have to disclose the same as per CARO 2020. So again, we have already seen these consideration. A party might have taken loan from the company and repaid in the same financial year. What should we do for that? They have been squared up. So then these squared up transactions also please record it in this particular clause so that you have a record. So this is a very important point. What happens if I have a loan sanctioned in the year and repaid within the year? Squared off loans. So 269T had a disclosure. Same disclosure we will do in CARO. So your tax audit, there was a 269T disclosure. The same disclosure can be done in CARO 2020 of squaring off of loans. The next one is 185 and 186 compliance with related party, no change. As I told earlier, 185, 186 compliance with that is you have given to related parties. So 185 prohibits certain transactions or loans or guarantees given to certain related parties. 186 specifies the amount of restriction, certain transactions which are restricted amount of loans. So which is 60% of net worth or 100% of total reserve. So all that is given in section 186. 185 prohibits a lot of transactions. That compliance you have to see as per clause number 4. Clause number 5, deposits also there has been no change. So clause number 5, deposits also there has been no change apart from one small clarification. Earlier days, they have just given whether company has accepted deposit. There were a lot of questions whether only deposit is there or deemed deposits. So there are a lot of deemed deposits which are considered. Sir, Sashank, what are those deemed deposits? So there is company's deposit rules, acceptances of deposits rule 2014. There they have specified what are deemed deposits. Certain deposits are deemed deposits such as, for example, I'm just giving you a few examples. They have taken an advance from a customer and that advance is there for more than 365 days. Then after 365 days, I will wait for 15 more days. Then I will consider that as a deposit. Advance given from customer more than 365 days without any terms. And after the 365 days, so 15 days passes by, that is a deemed deposit. Any advance I receive for immovable property and I do not sell that immovable property, 15 days after it becomes overdue. So you received an advance and you told a specific date for that. So you have a sale agreement. So usually you receive advance based on a sale agreement. So agreement for sale. So if that time period crosses and 15 days overdue, those are all considered as deemed deposits. So a lot of deemed deposits are there in such categorizations. So they have included that. Earlier days also it should have been included as per because those deposits are also deemed deposits. They come under the definition of 73 to 76. But here they wanted to bring in clarity. So they have included the same. So where the deposit. So now one key point for consideration is where the number of deposits is very large, it is not feasible for the auditor to satisfy that every single deposit complies with the rules. So he should therefore examine the internal control system. So this is very, very important. The system on which how they accept deposits from public. So you issue debentures also, it will be considered as deposits. So all these deposits which are given to public, you have to see whether your compliance is proper, whether the issue terms are proper, whether the procedure for receipt and payment of deposits is proper. So all this you need to do some test checks and verify the reasonableness of the transaction. The main purpose of audit is to get a reasonable assurance. So we have to work towards the same. Next one is cost record. There has been no change in the cost record maintenance. So we have to just require whether cost record has been maintained by the companies under section 148 of Companies Act. So this same disclosure we have to tell in this transaction. One more important thing, the turnover is 35 crores or more for tax or cost or record inclusion. Next is the 7th clause, 7A clause, which is very, 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 very important. They made a small change with the earlier laws, with the current laws. CARO 2016 did not have GST. Now they are having GST. Apart from that, any statutory dues. So whether the company is regular in depositing undisputed statutory dues, including provident fund, employee state insurance, income tax, sales tax, service tax, duty of customs, duty of excise, value added tax, cess and other statutory dues. So Sashank, they have not removed service tax. They have not removed service tax. Sales tax, VAT and all, there are undisputed, VAT and excise is there for your petroleum products and non-GST products. which includes liquor and all, the same thing shall be disclosed. If there is any undisputed statutory dues not paid, you should disclose the same. If they have not disclosed, you have to disclose the extent of arrears outstanding for the financial year more than a period of 6 months. So the important thing is it should be due for more than a period of 6 months. So if there is a due more than a period of 6 months, the date become payable, you should disclose the same. Next one is whether dues of income tax, sales tax, service tax, which are disputed, which have not been deposited on account of any dispute, whether that dispute, where dispute is pending, you should mention that dispute. You should mention that dispute in part B. And then the next clause. Before going to the next clause, what are statutory dues is, we have to cover all the statutory dues which is given in the clause. Apart from that, SA 250 tells us what are the consideration of laws and regulations in an audit of financial statements. So we have to consider so many laws around which are governing a company. So while audit, that particular standards on auditing should be followed. What are statutory dues? What are not statutory dues? This is a detailed explanation or disclosure. Detailed disclosure. So due to central, state, local or foreign statutory dues, dues of regular in nature, non-payment of advance tax is also included. So suppose they have not paid advance tax and they had some taxes to be paid, same can be disclosed. Municipal taxes, if they have not paid, that is property taxes, you can disclose. Any fees to pay to licensing authority, the same shall be disclosed. The same shall be disclosed. And then the next one, levy time to time on occurrence and non-occurrence of certain events, dues out of contractual obligations, electricity dues, payment of bonus and dividend payment, you need not disclose. So these are all excluded as statutory dues. So these are all excluded as statutory dues. So now moving on to the next clause. So this clause is the same as the earlier time, just a special attention is given because this is the core aspect of audit. Any deviation in statutory dues is a material misstatement in the financial statements. So then you need to qualify your report as per SA 705. So you should be very careful in disclosing these criteria. So we will go to the next aspect, which is financial or willful default. If there is any willful defaulter, whether the company has defaulted in loans of banks, financial institution, government, or dues to debenture holders. If yes, you have to specify the time period on there. Same thing is given here in the first clause. Apart from that, RBI discloses willful defaulters. So that also you should disclose. Whether the company is declared willful defaulter by any bank, financial institution, or other lender. Second one, whether term loans were applied for the purpose for which loans were obtained. If not, how much amount was diverted. So suppose you have got a specific purpose and the company is misappropriating the funds, you have to verify. So end use of funds verification is very important as per this C class. Then whether short-term funds are used for long-term basis, that also you should verify. So this C clause and D clause is based on end use. It is based on end use. Also, one more thing. C clause is talking about diversion. E clause is talking about detailed version of diversion. Not diversion within the company, whether they have used it for meeting the obligation of its subsidiaries, associates, or joint venture. You need to disclose the same. You need to disclose the same. So look at the requirement. Lot of requirements. Whether they have diversified, whether it is done for the particular transaction, all this has been recorded. Last one, whether the company has raised loans during the year on pledge of securities held in subsidiaries. So sometimes they may give shares of the subsidiaries as security and obtain loans. That shall be disclosed. So all these are new disclosure. First disclosure is willful defaulter. Other than that, end use of funds, you are checking whether there is diversion. Third one is short-term funds used for long-term funds. Fourth one is whether it is used for subsidiaries, joint venture. And the fifth one is whether the company has learned a loan during the year for pledge of security. So all these disclosure based on loan, you have to verify. All these changes you have to verify. So what is a willful defaulter is, generally willful defaulter is announced by RBI. So auditor is required. What is the requirement? As auditors for the same clauses, he has to disclose whether they are reported as willful defaulter. So for this, we should get an external confirmation from bank. Suppose the party is a non-performing asset, it is better to get an external confirmation from bank whether this party is recorded as a willful defaulter. Willful default, how they are classified is based on intentional and deliberate and calculated default. So they are defaulting on purpose. So what will be considered as defaulting on purpose is if there is diversion of funds. They have used the funds for some other activity or using it for subsidiaries. Siphoning of funds is where the promoters have taken over all the funds. A sale of fixed asset without lender's knowledge. So suppose they have a long-term loan, they bought it for a specific property, plant and equipment or fixed asset, and they need to get approval from the lender and they have sold it. The same requires to be disclosed. The last one is very simple. I have the money to pay. The company has the money to pay and they have not disclosed the same. That shall be disclosed. So these are the 4 categorization of willful defaulters. Apart from that, on the date of balance sheet date, they may not be a willful defaulter. So balance sheet date is 31st March. Today we are on 23rd July. We may finalize the accounts before 3rd September. That is the last day to prepare the accounts to give 21 clear days for AGM. So between this time period, if there is any willful default, what should an auditor do? Suppose in that time period you are considered as willful defaulter, auditor should use this judgment, professional judgment and professional skepticism, and follow the guidance given in Standards on Auditing 560, which is subsequent event, and SA 700, which is for reporting. So all that must be followed. The same requirement must be followed by an auditor for the disclosure. Then the next one. So as you have seen, I have skipped clause number 8. After clause number 7, I've gone to clause number 9. Then I've gone to clause 10 because clause number 8 is a new clause. So we'll come to all the new clauses in the end and what is the omitted clause later on. So clause number 10, there is not much change. Clause number 10 is whether there is money raised for IPO or further public offer and term loans were applied for the purpose for which they are raised. If not, details together with their delays of default and subsequent rectification may be reported. So here also, if you have raised money for IPO or term loan, you have to tell whether they are used for the purpose. Extension of clause number 9. Extension of clause number 9, whether they are used for their particular purpose. The same is being continued in clause number 10. Now, the next requirement is clause number 11. Clause number 11 is a very, very, very crucial change, which is fraud reporting. So we all have a vast knowledge. Auditor is a watchdog, but not a bloodhound as per Kingston Cotton Mills case, which has been pre-decided. Now, as per this CARO, the responsibility of auditors has slightly increased, but we can still use the protection of Kingston Cotton Mills case. But now the requirement of CARO has slightly extended. Earlier days, we have to just disclose whether any fraud by the company or fraud on the company by its officer or employees has been noticed or reported during the year. If yes, you should disclose the amount. So that was the requirement. Now the requirement is by the company or any fraud on the company. It can be done by an outsider, third party, customer, supplier, any person you have to disclose. Before it was just officer or employee. Now, any fraud on the company. So supplier, vendor, everything has been disclosed. If yes, please disclose the amount and involved and indicated. Apart from this, 143.12. So 143.11 is CARO requirement. 143.12 tells about fraud requirements or fraud relating procedures to be done by an auditor in case of a fraud. So that requirement you have to disclose as an auditor. Whether any report under subsection 12 of 143 has been complied in the form ADT4. Suppose whether you are submitting ADT4 as per requirements of companies 143.12 of Companies Act. So the rule is Rule 13 of Audit and Auditors Rules with central government. Also very, very important, whistleblowers of company discloses various misdeeds in a company, it is the duty of the auditors to take consideration of the same. So that is also been added in CARO. Whether auditors have considered whistleblowers complaint. It is not telling whether you have accepted the whistleblower's complaint or not. It has just asked whether the auditor has considered whether you have to obtain your professional judgment on the reasonableness and appropriateness of financial statement, whether you have considered the disclosure of the whistleblower's complaints. So that is the important thing. So what are the key changes as discussed? New clauses C and B and C. First one is 143.12 requirements are followed. Next one is consideration of whistleblower. Apart from that, all the frauds need to be disclosed. So this is a key consideration change. Next one, fraud reporting. A few examples. The reporting requirement under this clause will be applicable to all the clauses that should be required to be reported under section 143.12 of the Companies Act. Then whistleblowers complaint received during the year shall be considered. Auditors not required to consider whistleblower complaints pertaining to earlier years, only in that financial year. That is also very, very crucial. Whistleblower complaint of that year should be taken, not earlier financial years. Also, you have to follow SA 240, which is the requirement for fraud reporting. So that also needs to be followed. Next clause, managerial remuneration. Older CARO it was there. Now this CARO, a clause has been dropped. Usually we see clauses only being added in the new CARO. Managerial remuneration they drop. Why? Is there any special thing in that? No, it is already covered in the earlier aspect of audit report. So again, they do not want us to repeat the same in CARO. That is the reason why this clause has been dropped. So as per 143.3 requirements, that has been disclosed. So you need not have it again in the CARO. The next one is Nidhi company. The clause to do with Nidhi company. Just an additional clause has been added. Everywhere they are just monitoring the default, whether there is any default in repayment of the deposits. So that has been added in this particular clause, whether there has been any deposit. Related party transaction is remaining the same. So whether related party transaction has compliance with 177, which is related party, and 188 of the Companies Act. Allotment of shares also, just a small change. They have added section 62, which is rights issue. Earlier days, it was only section 42, which was for issue of shares. In CARO 2020, they've also added rights issue. So any issue of shares or fully convertible or partly convertible debentures are in compliance with requirement of section 42, and whether they have been used for the particular purpose of funds. Here, they have just added section 62 for the same. The non-cash transactions, the same requirement is there as per the old CARO. Whether any non-cash transaction with directors or persons connected with him, if so, whether the provisions of Companies Act 2013 has been complied with, the same requirement is given. Next requirement, the last requirement as per the old CARO. Apart from this, I'll just go quickly through the new clauses. Once I finish the new clauses, my part of the session would be done. So the RBI registration is required as per 45IA for all NBFCs. Suppose a company is not complying with that, you have to disclose. So now additional requirements are there. Whether company has conducted any non-banking financial or housing financing activity without a valid certificate of registration, you have to disclose. Before, you have to just disclose whether they need to be, whether they are required to register as per 45IA of the Act. Now you have to tell whether they are doing some business and they have not obtained that certificate. Next one, whether they are some core investment company. That is also another form of NBFC, whether they are fulfilling the criteria and they are following that business. And whether the group has more than one CIC as part of the group. If yes, indicate the number of CICs which are part of the group. So there are core investment company means there are multiple companies, subsidiaries, joint ventures. Whether in that entire group, whether there is one company or more than one company, you have to specify that requirement in the group. So these are the key changes. So CICs and all these are the key changes. Next very, very important requirement are the new clauses. From 16 clauses, it has gone to 21 clauses. I have skipped clause number 8. I have skipped clause number 14. So all these clauses I will come now. So what is clause number 8 is any undisclosed income as per your Income Tax Act. whether they have unrecorded has been properly recorded in the books of accounts during the year. So earlier years it was undisclosed, and now it has been surrendered or disclosed. Some search proceedings has come, or some other proceedings as per Income Tax Act, they have found that there are undisclosed income. If it has been there, you have to record the same, and you have to report that that disclosure is sufficient. Is this a new, why this new clause has come? One is for compliance with income tax. Second thing is there has been a change in Schedule 3. So Schedule 3 also gives a requirement to disclose this undisclosed income. So Schedule 3 has given a requirement to disclose this undisclosed income, whether it has been done in search, survey, or any other relevant provision, unless there is an immunity to disclose. So our income declaration scheme came, Vivad Se Vishwas scheme came. So all these were immunity schemes. So if these schemes come, you need not disclose the same. If there is no immunity scheme, that should be recorded and specified separately in the financial statement as per Schedule 3. So based on this, you will consider it in your CARO preparation. So in Schedule 3, you have to disclose this separately. Based on that, it will be disclosed in CARO requirement. So when they're unrecorded, they have to record. So if any addition made by the income tax authorities and the company has disputed such addition, then reporting is not necessary. So if there is any admission made telling that it is undisclosed income, if company accepts, you have to record it. If company does not accept, you need not record it. But remember that undisputed statutory dues, you should report as per, disputed statutory dues, you should disclose as per 7B, clause 7B of CARO 2020. Apart from that, section 131 of Companies Act should be followed. Next one is, as a statutory auditor, now you are required to comment on the internal auditor's work. This is a new clause. So whether the company has an internal audit system which commensurate with the size and nature of the business. So there is a requirement of internal audit in Companies Act, whether they are following that. If so, that disclosure is there. Next, whether their system is sufficient with the size and nature, and also whether reports of internal auditors were considered. Again, it is considered, not accepted, whether they are considered by statutory auditors. Shashank, was it there in the earlier days or not? This clause was, even though we have not reported, we should consider the work of internal auditor as per SA 610. We should consider the same. So that requirement is there. Also, internal control system, SA 315 also should apply for this. So whether the internal audit system is fine, internal control system is fine. So all this we have to disclose. Before in auditor reporting also, we saw the IFC, internal financial controls, whether they are sufficient. Now we are having a CARO disclosure telling for the internal audit system aspect of that IFC. So function of internal audits includes evaluation of internal controls, examination of financial and operational information, review of operating activities, review of compliance with laws and regulation, and risk management and governance. Next one, what if there is cash losses? Suppose a company has incurred cash losses in the year and in the preceding years, you have to state the amount of cash losses. So cash losses, losses before depreciation. So any loss before depreciation, you have to disclose the same. The same shall be disclosed. So to also note that if 1 year there is cash loss and the previous year there is no cash loss, disclose accordingly. Or if the current year there is no cash loss and the previous year there is cash loss, disclose it separately. So you have to comment on the 2 years separately. So that is the best advice. What is it advised is, auditor is to comment on 2 years separately if there is a loss in the previous year and loss in the subsequent year. Last one is resignation of auditors. This is a very, very important clause for the unity and the solidarity of this profession. Even before CARO, this should have been addressed by all chartered accountants. What is the important thing is, if one auditor resigns, what we do as professionals is we immediately go and take as our client's work. It's like a dog eat dog world. We just put one letter to the earlier auditor telling, I have accepted, is there any dues in your fees? And I send that letter. If there are no dues and no consideration as statutory auditor, I can take up the audit. This is what I used to do. But nowadays, we have to see why the auditor resigned, whether those considerations are, whether those reasons are considered in your audit report. So those items are there. So whether auditor has resigned during the previous year and whether you have taken into consideration or issues or concerns raised by the outgoing auditors. So whether you have considered the same. So as mentioned in the implementation guide of resignation and withdrawal. So ICA has given this implementation guide before. What it is expected of the resigning auditor is should not mention ambiguous reasons, like telling I have preoccupation with other work, personal reasons I'm not going for company, administrative reasons I can't do audit, health reasons or mutual consent or unavoidable losses I'm not doing the audit. That you should not specify in resignation. Core areas, what are your objections, why you are not doing, or even if you are having health reason, proper reasoning, what health reasons, what issues are there for you to resign from that company. So that is given in the implementation guide. Implementation guide is not mandatory. It is it can be followed or need not be followed by the members. Also, as part of obtaining no objection from outgoing auditor, we know that as per SA 210 and all that, you have to get the previous auditor's approval or any adverse comment, whether we should consider the same in our audit report. We should consider the same in our audit report. Next one is material uncertainty. This clause has again been added because Schedule 3 has been amended. Schedule 3 has including financial ratios in the current year. So based on these ratios and expected date of realization of assets and payment of financial liabilities, whether the auditor is of opinion that there is no material uncertainty as on the date of audit, whether the company is capable of meeting its liabilities within a period of 1 year from the balance sheet date. What you're questioning is going concern. Earlier days, did we have this going concern? Yes. As per AS1 we had, as per Ind AS 101 we had, as per SA 570 we had. All these places we had to comment on our going concern. All these items you have to comment on our going concern. So whether they are commenting the same. So material uncertainty as per SA 570 means that any uncertainty related to events or condition which may cast a significant doubt whether entity is going to meet their going concern requirement. So apart from that, we have to see whether within 1 year they're able to pay liabilities. Within a period of 1 year, they're able to pay liabilities. That check you need to do. So this is a small disclosure of going concern. What is our duty as an auditor to disclose? Suppose there is material uncertainty, but adequate disclosures are made in the financial statement. Include a separate section in audit report under the heading material uncertainty related to going concern is disclosed. Suppose material uncertainty is given, but inadequate disclosures are made, you have to give a qualified opinion. Suppose going concern is inappropriate, if accounts are prepared in going concern basis. What is, if going concern is inappropriate standards. So suppose it is prepared on going concern basis, issue a advanced opinion. And all the documentation you should do. The last two clauses, these are the last two clauses. Clause number 20, which is CSR reporting, new clause, which is there as per section 135 of Companies Act, you have to follow CSR. Also, IFAC, ICAI all believe in a new governance, which is 3 P's. Not only profit we have to see planet and people. CSR helps with planet and people. So we are just going to disclose whether in respect of other than ongoing projects, whether company has transferred unspent amount. So CSR, you have to follow issuing 2% of profit, whether you have complied with the same. Suppose you have not paid, you have transferred it to a fund specified as per Schedule 7 of the Companies Act, whether you have transferred or else you are not transferring to that fund specified as per Schedule 7, whether you are maintaining a separate bank account. Earlier days, what we used to do is they used to just put a provision for CSR. That's it. They've complied with CSR. Whether it is spent or not, we don't make any disclosure in our audit report. In our audit report, it was sufficient. If we put a provision in the financial statements, then we tell that the company has provided. So there is no adverse opinion or qualified opinion for the same. Now CARO is addressing that shortcoming. Whether you have issued it to some fund or any unspent amount has been paid. So that is the requirement as per CARO clause number 20. The last clause number 21. So clause number 21 is CARO based on consolidated financial statement. So this is a new requirement. Earlier consolidated financial statement, you need not follow CARO. Now also you need not follow CARO much until and unless where there have been qualification or adverse remarks by the respective auditors in their CARO reports. So consolidated reports has various joint ventures, subsidiaries, associates, everything put together in one financial statement. So in that financial statement, if there is adverse or adverse remarks or qualified remarks in the CARO reports of the subsidiaries or the associates or the holding company, then you have to disclose those details as per clause 21. So if yes, you have to disclose the details of the companies and the paragraph. So you have to mention which paragraph they have not complied with and which CARO requirement they have not complied with. So this in consolidated financial statement, you have to apply SA 600 if the subsidiary or associate is being done by another auditor. Work done by another auditor, you have to see his independence, whether he is having the technical resource capability, all that you have to do as the consolidating financial statements auditor. So you have to disclose the same. Also, the qualification or adverse remark as per CARO does not mean a qualification as per SA 705 requirement. So CARO qualification is not as good as qualification as per SA 705. So all the subsidiaries individually have to show which paragraph there is qualification. So suppose there is a negative answer to any of the earlier clauses in CARO, that must be disclosed in your consolidated financial statements. So with this, I would like to end this session, and I would like to thank all the 450 participants who have seen this meeting in spite of their busy schedule and during the last course of their individual return filing. So thank you. And if there is any doubts, I can answer these.
So technically, many query.
So slow moving stock. So where to disclose the obsolete, slow moving, damaged, non-moving and similar unproductive inventory in various categories of inventory. Usually what happens in these obsolete, slow moving, damaged is they will be written off as per their net realizable value in their financial statements. As per Ind AS 2 or AS 2, you write off the stock as per net realizable value, which is basically you write off those values. And in CARO, you are only checking the quantity, the quantitative details more than the financial details. So there is no specific requirement to mention the slow moving damage, but ensure that as an auditor, ensure that they are written off as per AS2 or Ind AS 2. Also, you consider SA 501 for valuation of inventories.
Thank you, Sasank. Every good thing has to come to an end. But one thing from the deliberation today, it is clear that we, the auditors, are bracing for stricter compliance norms, and in the process, multiple challenges will be faced by us in conducting our assignment. The biggest challenge auditors will face will be in complying with the CARO reporting is in increased workload, since reporting requirements are enhanced significantly.
Sir, one small thing, we should educate our clients that we are doing more work. We should show them all the CARO reporting.
But they won't, you can educate them, but they won't increase the fees.
Yes.
The main challenge for auditors in complying with newer stricter reporting norms should be reporting on frauds and whistleblower complaints. This is one new thing which is going to be very difficult for auditors to comply. And the second thing is this kind of reporting will require auditors to get into the shoes of investigators, and the role will be more than a watchdog, as you stated earlier. No, they are not going to spare us. If there are any shortcomings, they will prevail upon us as to you did not comply with your duties. So this is an area of concern, because fraud also we have report, willful defaulter also report. If we are not made available with the documents, then how we become responsible? Tell me.
Sir, the only first thing is we should have sufficient documentation, sir. We should have our audit documentation sufficiently and have a proper record of the.
No, I understand, but you see, the records will be only if it is provided to you, if it is made known to you. Suppose the whistleblower complaints have come and it is made known to you, they give you a certificate. But more than that, what you can do? You tell me.
So if they have not provided with the whistleblower complaint, one we can do is we can disclaim that clause. Or
yes, we will disclaim, but disputes are going to arise, I tell you.
Yes, yes. Well,
So,
why we have
what?
considered or not considered also, we should have a documentation. This
Yeah.
are the whistleblower complaint. So
So
we
what
have to educate the client for the more work we are doing, sir. We have to try to educate them and tell, see, we are having more compliance, and based on that, we should also try to increase our fees, because the number of days to do an audit has sufficiently increased because of the new CARO requirements. 100% I agree with you, sir.
in fact, as far as the CA profession is concerned, we are learning and relearning every year, because the government makes changes without considering as to how it is going to impact the auditors also. And I feel that we have to invest in technology for smoother compliance of this CARO reporting. That is a very big requirement, because otherwise the audit will not be able to complete our assignment in time.
So that
It will be a difficult task.
for that only they are bringing that audit trail from the next year, sir. Audit trail, and we should also
Yeah, I
try to
understand.
invert this blockchain. All
So
that
we have to improve our current audit practices in the form of modifying or devising alternative audit procedures and adopting new audit techniques or tools to be able to evaluate and reporting to the new requirements. This is the conclusion which I could gather from your deliberation. So the only thing I can say that in view of the major amendment, the auditor need to plan early and assess the impact if they have not started it already. Second step would be to that they need to communicate their reasonable expectation to the management of the company in terms of what they are required to successfully comply with the CARO reporting. And third step would be to complete the testing and anticipate the reporting issues that may come up. And fourth step would be that they need to engage with the management again to assess whether any additional disclosures are required to be explained. So we will need a lot of help from the management in this regard. Sasank, you will also appreciate that the time and the efforts and the energy which will be required to complete this reporting will be very fast in case of the company, and require a lot of manpower unless we use technologies to complete the job. So before we conclude, Sasank, you have provided the audience as a knowledgeable, helpful resource on the subject, and your deliberations were meaningful, providing complete insight in this regard. So thank you for accepting our invitation, and we wish you all the best in times to come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for providing me the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Technical team. Yes, sir. I think we. Yeah. 1 minute. Now I'll invite Miss Jayashree Maheshwari to kindly speak on the subject by Science of Happiness. But before she speaks, I would like to give the audience a short profile of Madam Maheshwari. Madam Maheshwari has done an MA in Clinical Psychology from Bombay University and MPhil in Psychology from SNDT University. She's also done MOMC courses on well-being, happiness, leadership, etc. She has trained more than 15,000 students till now and is a counselor, life coach, trainer, professor, visiting faculty for the ICI, and a consultant. She has conducted numerous workshops and seminars in the industry focusing on emotional wellness. So, the subject which we have today, friends, is a very important subject which is to be deliberated upon by Madam Maheshwari, since CAs are CAs, the profession of CAs is so stressful nowadays that the science of happiness is very necessary for us to understand. So with these few words, I invite Madam Maheshwari to start the deliberation.
Thank you so much, CA Santosh Lunta sir. And From commerce field, we will go for the understanding the science of happiness. Okay, so let me start with my presentation.
Yeah, madam, please.
So here we want to understand the science behind happiness, right? So we know that the very purpose of our life is to seek happiness. We all want to be happy in our life. We all want to do that. But somehow, maybe this is the most important thing, but still we are not pursuing it, or we don't think that we are happy to that extent. So sometimes we are going out of our own purpose of life. And happiness is something, it's a vast field, and we have different concepts, and people have their own subjective meaning of happiness. So first thing, let us understand what do we think about happiness. So give it a moment and think about it. What do you think is happiness according to you? What is your meaning of happiness? So if you want, you can write in the chat box, what do you think about happiness? It's about achieving something. It's about enjoying, having some pleasure moments, doing something. It's more than that. What does happiness means to you? It's going, there's nothing right or wrong. It's all about you as a person. What is your opinion about it? It's going to decide what is happiness for you. Basically, if we think about happiness, it's like, when we are talking about science of happiness, it means how neurochemical transmitters or happiness is going to affect us. Before that, we'll understand two different things. Happiness is combination of how satisfied you are with your life and how good you feel on a day-to-day basis. That means on daily well-being, it's about how do you feel about it. That should not be only Monday blues, but every day you are excited, you feel good, you are looking forward to the meetings, your work, professionalism, everything, and you are happy with what you have achieved, and you are looking forward more. So happiness is combination of the two factors, that is how satisfied you are with your life and how good you feel on day-to-day basis. So when we talk about happiness and when we talk about it, these are the some chemicals which are known as happy hormones, and we can actually hack them and we can allow them to release more and more of it when we want to be happy. So when we talk about dopamine, this is a reward chemical. So when you eat good food, you achieve a goal, you complete a task, or you take self-care activities, we'll be using all those in this our different ways to create happiness and continue with your happiness. So dopamine is when you are rewarded, when you decide, okay, fine, I want to accomplish this task at this moment, or you smallest task, it will secrete this neurochemical transmitters in your brain. Then oxytocin is the love hormone which is responsible for your relationship, physical touch. When you touch a pet, when you hug your kid, and all these things, when you help others, socialize, this brain will be secreting that hormone in your brain. Then endorphin is the painkiller which your body will secrete when you are doing exercise, when you are enjoying the music, when you are watching, and when you are doing the laughter therapy. So more endorphin will be secreted and you won't feel the pain to that extent. Then serotonin, the mood stabilizer. When you are mindful, you are with nature, when you are doing meditation, you are in present moment, is all this. So how can we increase the secretion of this neurochemical transmitter, and we can decrease the stress hormone or the secretion of the cortisols and the chemicals which are not very good for our health. So as you increase the happy hormones, this will also boost your immune system, this will also make you happy. So basically what happens, happiness is a vicious circle. You do something, and because of that neurochemical transmitter is secreted in your body, because of this you feel happy, and because you feel happy, you're doing something more. So let's get into this circle, and we want to be more happy. So when we talk about pillars, how we can develop, these are the 9 pillars of happiness which we are going to discuss today. One is self-compassion, that is about yourself, love yourself and be compassionate towards yourself. Mindfulness, to be present in that moment. Savoring, that means to enjoy that moment. Gratitude, to be grateful to someone. Altruism, doing something more than what you are. Resilience, to bounce back. building good relationship, exercising, and accomplishing small ones. So when we will be using, when we will be doing the small action plans we are making, we can increase the secretion of those happy hormones in our brain, and that will help us to make more happy. Let's start with the first one. This is self-compassion. Now, when we go in a flight, we always get the instruction that put your oxygen mask first before you want to help others. The same thing applies of taking your care and being compassionate towards yourself. अगर आपने अपने खुद का ध्यान नहीं रखा तो आप दूसरों का ध्यान कैसे रखेंगे? If you yourself is not happy, how you are going to make others happy in your life? So the first thing is be compassionate. We all are human beings and we can commit mistakes. It's okay to commit. We should accept ourselves with our flaws, with our mistakes. It's okay now, next time we'll take care of that. That is what we need to do. Don't be that harsh. You are a human being. So that compassion has to be there and you should take care of yourself. Do things which you like to do things, small things which can make you feel happy and be compassionate towards it. Don't be so sad. The problem with us is that we are very critical to ourselves. I should not make a mistake. I should not do this. Everybody should love me. Everybody should love. We are not able to understand ourselves. We are not able to be compassionate towards ourselves. And if you are not compassionate towards yourself, how you can be compassionate towards others? So wear your own oxygen mask before you want to help others and be compassionate. Every day at the end of the day, just accept yourself. If you have made a mistake, accept it and then move ahead with that. Okay, don't be that harsh with yourself. Then we will go to the next one, that is mindfulness. This is, when you will see there will be more to life when you stop and notice. Mindfulness is being present in this moment. That means not aware what has happened in the past, not ruminating about that, not having anxiety about the future. It's about at this moment, present moment, what are you feeling? How are you doing? So that will help you to be more connected with yourself. See what happens, we are so much engrossed with this technology things and all, we are not connected with ourselves. We just forget. And most of the things, if you see, we are doing in a autopilot mode. So when you are doing something, you just do it in a robotic way that, okay, fine, you are brushing your teeth and everything. You're not aware what exactly how you're feeling when you brush your teeth. In the morning when you get up and you start doing it. So mindfulness you can increase, say for example, if you are a right-handed person, use your left hand to brush your teeth. You will feel it is different. And this is how being aware of the situation can help you to be more connected with yourself and to be more happy with yourself. So mindfulness is just stop whatever you're doing for this second, just stop, concentrate on your breathing, just take a deep breath, how you feel it. Inhale, exhale, how you're feeling. Just be aware how the air is going through your nostrils, how you're feeling when you breathe in, how you feel when you breathe out. Just be aware. So what happens when we become this, in the whole day, when for fraction of seconds, when you just take a deep breath, you are present, you just stop and open your eyes and see, you will see totally. You can change your negative thought process first thing. So if you are going through some negative thoughts, mind, we have a lot of thoughts which are coming one by one and there's a chain of thoughts and we are not aware. So after some time, you may have your mood is off, you are not feeling good and something. You are stressful about some situation and all. So in that case, if you just take a break and just take a deep breath and just be mindful at that moment, you can break that chain of your negative thoughts and you can shift your focus. So mindfulness can help you to be more happy at that moment. Don't think about your past. Don't ruminate about your past. Don't be anxious about it. Just be this moment. So when you're in my class, in my session today, be present in this moment. Forget about everything and you'll enjoy it, this moment itself. Okay, so that is how this is a pillar for your happiness. Now, savoring is about trying to remember something which was past joyful moment, and we do have all that. How about sharing that moment with your family members and enjoying. Now the thing is that your brain, when we actually do it, or when we enjoy, when we just remember the past joyful moments, your brain will secrete the same hormones, the same neurochemical transmitters, and it is almost everything is the same. The brain can't distinguish between what is real and what you are just remembering as an experience. So savoring helps us to increase that happiness by remembering those past moments. And how about sharing it with others? So people will enjoy when you share your past experience, joyful moments, funny moments, and something very happy, pleasant. Just think of last time when you traveled to some place and you enjoyed that place. And you can see that how this will bring a smile on your face. Remembering a small thing can bring. So when you had somebody, your niece, your nephew who was very young, you hold that kid in your hand. How happy you were with the thing. The small things savoring helps us. So how about every day can we make an action plan of sitting with our family members and sharing something what happened very good in the day, whole day. Every day you can have this when you are having your dinner together. Let's have the savoring moment with your family. This will increase your happiness. Now, gratitude, practicing appreciation. Research says that, if you feel gratitude, if you show your gratitude towards others to be here on this earth and to be live on this earth and to be happy for whatever you have, whatever you possess, this will increase your happiness by 25%. So we had Martin Seligman, who is father of positive psychology, and he said that, okay, if you every day you show your gratitude, this will decrease your anxiety, depression, anger, frustration by 40% in a day. Like if you practice this gratitude every day for 1 month, you can see there's a decrease in your frustration level, your anger level, your all this, because you are shifting your mind from negative to positive. So be grateful. Write down what is that you are grateful. So that count your blessings basically. And this you can do every day. It takes few minutes when you can just sit down in the night. If you journal those gratitude things, this will help you to feel more positive. These all are science and research, neuroscience findings which we are sharing over here, that how we can be more happy in our life. Next is altruism. It is said that givers are happier people than as compared to the takers. Okay, so altruism is all about giving and doing things for others without expecting anything. So you do small kind uh, things which are full of kindness to others. It could be as small, giving a smile or waving towards somebody or doing some help at home or somewhere in office, doing something extra without expecting anything from them to return. So the thing is that when we do this, basically what happens is this: when we are doing something altruism, we are secreting serotonin, which is a happy hormone. When we feel that, okay, I'm beneficial to others, so you have a meaning in your life. Is it do good and feel good basically. So when we talk about altruism, we see that when you're doing small things, it gives a purpose to your life, it gives meaningfulness to your life because you become contributing. So, and when you know that you are a contributing factor, you feel more happy, you feel more meaningful towards it. Then comes your resilience. We know that we all have difficulties in life. We all had gone through this COVID-19 2 years. It was very difficult, right? But bouncing back is what is important for you to feel happy. So when we talk about this resilience, it's about just bouncing back, coming out of the difficult situation, and again looking for something good in your life. So what happens? uh, we all know that nobody has a life which is full of all the good things and everything. We all have difficulties in our life, and we should know that, okay, after this I do have a hope. I know that I can overcome the situation. This feeling of having the control, or I can overcome, I will help you to improve and increase your happiness, because at the end of the day, when we know that, okay, this is what I want to, I can achieve something, this feeling of having control is the big source of your happiness. So when we talk about, we know that nobody can have a life without problem. And if we see our new president, Draupadi Murmu, I was just yesterday I was reading about her, and we could understand, or you read about our former president APJ Abdul Kalam. We all can understand how we need to be resilient in our life. So problems are going to be there, but we know how we can change our perspective towards that, and we can be moving. The people who have this feeling that they can control or they can overcome the difficulties are more happier than other people. So after that comes relationship. Okay. Now, uh, this was a study which was done by Harvard University, and this was a longitudinal study of 72 years, and they said that people who are happy in their life are the one who have close relationship with us. I'm not talking about relationship on your social media platform and all. It's about close relationship with few people who are there, and you can have that. So they say that those people who are, they have a happy, healthier, and they will have less of disease or problems, people who enjoy good relationships. So just imagine the connection between having good relationship for your well-being. So this was a 72 years longitudinal study. They said, please pay attention to your relationship. At least some few relationships which are close one on which you can rely, and you are also in the book of somebody where they can trust you, they can rely on you. So having those good relationship is very important for your well-being, and in this relationship you will be your immune system will be more strong, you will be able to handle situations, you will be having less pain because of this issue. So you can live a long, healthy life with good relationship. So this is about the relationship. Then comes exercising. Now, when we do the exercise, we will be secreting the hormone, and that is known as endorphin, which is a painkiller hormone. So, movement is healthy. Let's move on. We all are busy professionals. So, what can we do in this scenario that every hour for 2 minutes we can stretch our body? You can have that alarm set every 2 minutes. You can stretch your body so that you are able to do that. Secondly, 7 minutes minimum I'm talking about 7 minutes of exercise can help us to improve our physical and mental well-being. 7 minutes exercise. So can we have those 7 minutes in our life when we do a little bit of exercise, which will increase the secretion of endorphin and which can help us to improve ourselves? So make it a point, that action plan, that every day you are going to exercise for minimum 7 minutes, and then you can have as per your schedule. But make it a point. And secondly, after every hour for 2 minutes, you can stand up from your, because see, the thing is that nowadays we are having a very lethargic and sedentary lifestyle. We are sitting on our desk, we are glued to it, we are sitting there for 6 hours, 7 hours all together, and that is not very good for your health. So if you want to be happy, you need to be healthy. And if you want to be healthy, exercise is the option available to you. Right? So from exercise, we'll move to the next. Okay. Now, what happens to our brain that when we set a target for ours, I'm not talking about very big target, I'm talking at this moment a very small target, just catching up with one of your friend, or like you have decided that I want to complete this book, or you want to clear your desk, or you want to something a very small task. You say that you set that target and you accomplish that task. This will again increase your hormones and you will be more happy. And that's the reason why research says people who are not appreciated, especially housewives and all, when they are not appreciated, they feel less satisfied and they're less happy. So appreciation will help you, and at least for yourself, you as a person. It's all about you as a person. You want to be happy in your life. So it's like small tasks which you can accomplish, and those accomplishing small tasks will help you to be more happy in your life. Smallest task, it can be as small as that, okay, I want to have a cup of coffee with a book, or I want to listen to this music, a small task which I want to do it for myself. So that can be helpful and that can be happy to us. We can feel happily. See, the thing is that when we are talking about all this, it all starts with ourselves. So when we talk about happiness, when we talk about uh, happiness, it's all about you as a person. Uh, Happiness is, the research says that happiness is 50% is set point. That is whatever you are born with, where the identity and all is that. 40% is in your hand. That is what you think over here and what it is all about, how you perceive it, how you control it. And 10% is the external situation. So when we talk about external situation, it's not enough, but we can, by doing small things, we can increase our happiness by doing small things. So let's say how we can set our routine. So in the morning, when you get up, the first thing is that how you can be grateful to others, so how you can be grateful to the God for being there on this. So be happy about yourself. Just be, because you are here, be happy about it. Let me share with you a small story. Okay, uh, he was a carpenter in some foreign country where we used to have this wooden house. So this carpenter, he was working from last 30 years and he was doing all his work and he was one of the best carpenter. That he जहाँ पे बहुत बर्फ गिरती है वहाँ पे we have those wooden house and he was one of the best carpenters in that area. He used to make such a beautiful house that people were crazy about, and he used to work for one contractor. Now what happened, this contractor, 30 years, and he was so particular about everything, the wood, the wood, the nails and everything. He was so particular about everything. And he used to put all efforts in those house, and it used to be known as the best built houses in the whole area. So one fine day, he went to the contractor. He said, "I want to resign from this job, and I don't want to make more houses." So then the contractor asked me, "What will do for your livelihood?" He said, I have a small farm, and I want to play with my grandchildren, and I just want to enjoy my. I have got a small pond. I can take. I mean, I can just do fishing, and I can grow some vegetables, and this is manage with the thing. So he said, I would love you to continue doing your work. He said, I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. So he said, okay, do one thing. At least I want you to build one more house, last one, with last one house for me. So he said, okay, fine. Last 30 years, I'm working with this contractor, and let me build this last house for him. So this carpenter, what he did, he was not interested. He was like karna padega wala style mein. So what he did, he built the house, but he didn't choose the right wood and everything, whatever he used to do for all his houses, he didn't do. He just made the house because he just wanted to make that house and just build that house and give it to the contractor. So somehow he completed the task, which was not as per his level of expertise and all. And the day when he completed the house, he went and gave the keys to the contractor. Contractor came to the house with him and said, "This house is for yourself. This house is for yourself. You have given all your service last 30 years, and this house, I want to give it to you as a gift." Now imagine the carpenter. This was the worst house he built till now. He wasn't happy with that till now. This was the last, and that's what actually happens with all of us. We are the carpenters. We want to do so many things in our life, but we are not happy about ourselves. We don't pay attention to ourselves. And how can we be happy in that case? So as a carpenter, the first thing what you have to do is to take care of yourself. You need to understand, what can I do to make myself happy? Happiness is relativeness. It's like, what you have, you're going to give it to others. And it's not something, we go, okay, one day, fine, I'll get this, then I'll be happy. It's not like that. It's a daily small thing, building block, जिसको block build करके हम, it's a habit, it's a skill basically. One fine day I won't be happy. It's just a skill you need to acquire, you need to practice. And whatever we discuss, we will be discussing it again. But this all are the small, small things which you have to do daily, daily practice. If you do every day, then after some time, say for 21 days, after 90 days, this will become your new habit. You have to bring the change in yourself. You are a carpenter for your life. You are the one who is going to create it. And secondly, the thing is that what you have, you are going to give it to others. So this world, whatever we have. So if you yourself is not happy, you won't give happiness to others, not to your family members, to the society, nobody else. So think about it, how I can, where am I at this moment? Science has told you that these are the four hormones which you can create, which you can bring it to yourself. You can increase the secretion of those hormones. But how I'm supposed to do? What can the action plans for me? And small, small things is going to bring happiness. It's not a big thing. Now, don't think that, okay, fine, this is what. If we call about happiness, there are four things, when we talk about happiness, it's about, pleasure, which we can get, when we do the enjoyment and all that. Then comes up the meaningfulness, when you are helping others, altruism. When we are into altruism, we are happy with ourselves. Then purpose of your life. If you have any purpose of your life, you have understood why, and that purpose of life will bring happiness to you. And then comes your positive mindset, which will bring happiness to you. So these are the four things. Okay, only pleasure will not make you happy. Only things won't make you. So for that's why many people who have everything in their life, all the materialistic things, but they are not happy. So if you want to understand that how I can be happy, understand first, pleasure is important, but besides pleasure, meaningfulness, purposefulness, and doing something for others, altruism is important for your friendship, relationship. How can I be more giver as compared to taker? Now, basically, what happens when we talk about relationship, it's more about like we have a lot of expectation from others, and when my expectations are not fulfilled, I'm not happy with it. So the thing is that when we talk about relationship, it is also important, instead of having expectation, understand what can I do instead of what others can do it for me. What can I contribute in this relationship? Think about it and think about from that point of view. So when we have less expectation, we will be more happy in our lives. It's more about concerned about yourself. So it's all about you as a human being, you as a person. So as a person, how can I be more happy in my life? So first thing, my purpose is very clear. I want to live a happy and healthy life. Okay. I may have a subjective understanding of happiness. Okay. That is, if I'll be happy if this thing happens to me. I'll be happy with this. Fine, no issue. All these things are fine. Now let's start with this, just like with the carpenter story. Let's start having a daily routine for happiness. So first, what we will be doing is getting up with the feeling of gratitude. Here, getting up and then be thankful to the God that okay, fine, I'm here and I'm happy with the things. Okay, this is what we are going to get up things. Okay, now after you get up and this is have a small thing, accomplishing the task. Think of a something which you want to do. It can be as simple as having catching up with your friend or doing a small task which you want to do besides your daily professional commitments and all. A small task which you think you will do and you will enjoy doing that. So think of it. Okay, that will be the second thing you do. The third thing is doing your exercise. Do physical exercise, mental exercise, meditation. Okay, the most important investment, according to Warren Buffett, is to invest in yourself. You want to be happy. You want to be peace. So do your exercise. Okay, and then comes your next is now for whole day, can I think of doing something extra for others? Okay, what can I do? Something extra for others. Think of it. See, here one thing is very important is that whatever we are doing it consciously. That is, we are not working from autopilot, but we are doing it with freedom of choice. That is, I am willingly doing that without any force. There's a direct connection between your freedom of choice and your happiness, which means When you do something because of some burden and without your own wish, you won't enjoy doing it. So when we talk, you are doing it because you want to do it, not because there's a force. So when you understand the difference between do freedom of choice and something you forcefully do it, you will understand the reason. So what can I do? A small thing, altruism, just a kind word, or saying hello to a watchman. It's as simple as that. It's not like you are going to have to do a lot of big things. It's small things. With actions, you can bring happiness in your life. These all are the actions, small actions, daily actions, which can bring happiness to our life. So that is what you can do, altruism. Then taking resilience, taking care of yourself, like everything, all the situation, wherever it is, you are going to divert your mind and you are going to think more positively. So we all have difficulties in life. Nobody has a life without difficulty. Everybody has their own set of difficulties. Now, here one more thing is that how you process with that thought process, emotionally, when emotional trauma is there and when you are not able to handle those emotions, how you're going to. So when we talk about happiness, it is also about understanding your emotions and processing that emotion, channelizing your emotions to the right side or in a positive way. So whenever you are going through either in relationship or when you are having problems in your life, when you are, all this are connected with your thoughts, your heart, that is your emotions and your behavior. So resilience is, I mean, when you are in a situation when you are emotionally upset, stop, be mindful. Ask yourself what I'm feeling at this moment, how I'm feeling in this moment, why I'm feeling. Is it a right? Is it right? Am I 100% sure that this is what is it? Understand yourself and then try to channelize your. So we have a technique called catch it, change it, catch it, challenge it, and change it. Which means when you are in a difficult situation, catch the negative thought. What this negative thought is coming to you, challenge it, whether it is right or whether it is right, whether you are 100% sure of it, and change it with a more positive. See, there is a direct connection between your thought and your happiness. So, as it's okay, it can happen to us. We can make mistakes. It's okay to be that. Let's see how I can see new things. Small things will bring this thing. Okay. Then comes your uh, savoring. How about daily sharing it with your friend? Setting communication will build your relationship with. Having that close relationship with your family is important, and sharing will increase the intimacy in your relationship. We are not, see, you do this action, you do this all things, and hormones will do that work. You will feel more happy in your life. There's meaning, there's purpose, there is pleasure. You will automatically start feeling more. It's more about your attitude, it's more about your positivity, it's about taking small actions to be feeling good. Okay. And then your mindfulness. Okay. So for this, wherever you are, one thing what I told you earlier, I mean just few minutes back also. So start getting interested in the being mindful when you're doing the mundane activities, routine work जो आप कर रहे हो, जो भी routine work है, उसमें भी आपको be conscious about it. See, the thing is that what happens with our brain is, we start doing something and we are started when we do it to the extent that we become expert in it, our brain start working in an autopilot mode. That means we don't think about doing that work. And this is what exactly happens when we are doing the routine work. You are walking on a route and every day you are going through the same route. You don't pay attention to your surroundings. Only thing you're thinking about something, what happened, somebody, you had an argument with your boss, or you said something to your subordinate, or there was some insult, or there was something you want to do it next time, or you're planning for that, but you're not paying attention to surroundings. So take a minute, stop there, take a pause, look around you. What is that? Have you seen the new flower which is blooming? New bud which is blooming? Have you seen the rainbow? Have you seen the colors? Have you seen the new leaves on the tree? Have you seen what is it like for that? This helps you to connect with yourself. We are very much connected to the outer world, but we are not connected with ourselves. And another technique which can help you to increase your mindfulness is take 5 deep breaths and see it how you feel it. Okay, close your eyes, listen to the 5 sounds which are coming to you. Small things, mindfulness, every now and then. See, instead of doing something in a routine way, just think what I'm doing at this moment and then concentrate on it. So this can help us to increase our happiness. It's all related, interrelated. We need to interwoven things so that we can be more happy with ourselves. So this what we discussed just now. These all are the 9 pillars of happiness. So we can start with the first thing is self-compassion. Be compassionate towards yourself and to be compassionate with others. Okay. Be mindful, whatever you are doing, start being present at the present. Don't think what was in the past. Don't ruminate about that. Don't think what will happen in the future. Be in this present moment by taking deep breath or by doing activities from your getting interested in the mundane activities or by using your non-dominant hand for doing things like brushing your teeth and all that. Just be aware at this moment. Just close your eyes. Be mindful. Just be mindful of your. Okay. Then savoring, discussing and sharing. The thing is that without investing money, by making the trip also you will have the same benefit. So you can use that benefit for doing that. Then being grateful towards others, being grateful towards the God, being grateful to the society, whatever you have, close one. Think about it. Why you are grateful? One relationship for which you are grateful. Okay. Things for which you are grateful. Think about it. Altruism, doing something more for others without expecting anything in return. That is the most important. You are doing it because you are capable of doing it and you are happy. And we just be happy with the things, okay? So it's just be giving and that will help you to be more happy. Resilience, bounce back. We have all the power in our life. We can. I think I can. That's why I can. Okay, invest in your relationship. So I was just reading some articles few days back, and they said that nowadays the new generation is finding to have a really good relationship with others. One thing was they have this approach. This was a study by Australian University, and they said that people are very much into this. It's my life, and they feel that if they are doing everything from their freedom of choice, they feel that it is okay to live their life as per their wishes. But in that case, they are disconnected with the society, and they are not able to find things. So the thing is that building good relationship, we are social human beings and we need to have good relationship, and in relationship also think about it how I will contribute in this. Forget about it managing your, forget about what you expect from other. How can I contribute to this relationship will give you lots of strength and more intimate relationship with that. Okay. And definitely your physical exercise, physical exercise and meditation can help you to increase uh, the happy hormones in your brain, and that will help you to. And then having small tasks, not very big, but having this hope with your future will make you more happy. So whenever you look into the future, you can look into the bigger picture. This can help us to be more happy in our life. So that when we talk about happiness, it's a skill. It's something which we need to do daily. So every day, small thing, just be happy with yourself, whatever you are. And then from there, you take it one step further and further. See, when we talk about this happiness, we call it two different type of this. One is with the pleasure, and second is uh, with your purposefulness and meaningfulness. So if you are if you are gratitude, you can increase 25%. In fact, 30 seconds of morning when you get up is going to determine 50% of your happiness percentage. Think so. 30 seconds of morning, when you get up, what thoughts comes to your mind is going to determine your 50% happiness for whole day. So that 30%, if you fill it up with gratitude, this is going to make you more happy your whole day. You will have more control on it. And this whole thing comes when you have freedom of it, when you are doing it willingly, not because of the force. So altruism will only work when you are doing it with freedom of choice. That is, you are doing it willingly, without not because करना पड़ेगा, करना है या this is what it is. So these are some of the things which we can do every day and make your own action plan. Action for happiness. Have a journal calling action for happiness, or these are the pillars I want to build it on. So wherever you have, if you are very compassionate and you feel that you need to practice more of mindfulness, so have that, how I can be more mindful. You are already practicing savoring, then and you are not practicing gratitude, or vice versa. So how can I be more grateful? So every day, what are the actions you can take? It's about you decide how you want to do that. It's all your choice, but the science says that if we are these chemicals, which are known as happiness chemicals, and if we do all these things, we will be secreted. The secretion will be more in my brain, and this will make me more happy. So when I accomplish small tasks or I take care of myself, I enjoy dopamine. Dopamine will be secreted. When I have good relationship with others and I'm happy and I'm doing things for others, and when I can do something else, like something for others without expecting in social service or whatever may, oxytocin will be secreted. When I'm doing exercise, endorphin will be secreted. And when I'm mindful, I do meditation, when I'm doing for sun exposure, vitamin D and all, the serotonin will be secreted. And this is how the science says that we can be more happy in our life. It's a daily practice, it is a skill which we can acquire. So the whole thing is that, think of it and try to build this 9 pillars of your happiness, and you can be compassionate towards yourself. And this is how we all can create this world of happiness. We can be more happy to say, let go things which is not important in your life. It's okay. Everything is not important. Let go other harsh feelings. Accept forgiveness, mindfulness, gratitude के साथ में be forgive, be forgetful, practice forgiveness, and you will feel very calm. It's not for others, it's for your benefit. Okay, so here this with 9 pillars of happiness, that is self-compassion, mindfulness, savoring, gratitude, altruism, resilience, relationship, building relationship, exercising, accomplishing small tasks and enjoying that is how we can build the happiness. Okay, and now we are open for the questions. Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, here. So we got a question. How did this 9 steps when we are occupied with return filing is one question. Let me see other questions also. Okay, one second. Okay, when you are occupied with your return filing and all the professional things, fraction of seconds when you can be mindful. Okay, so you are doing your work, last half an hour you are filing a return, just imagine, and for a second, for a fraction of second, you just stop what you are doing, okay, mindfulness practice, and you just take a deep breath, okay. Just concentrate breathing, open your eyes, again concentrate. How much time did it take? How much time will it take? So the whole thing is that I have got a lot of work and all these things. Everybody has 24 hours, but from this, how can I take out fraction of seconds and I can do it? It's the if your mental ability, you're more agile, your concentration level is high, your ability to concentrate or your ability to take a decision or rational thought process is very good. It's beneficial for you to do your written signing also. So your brain will be more active, and your brain will be able to perform in a better way if you have control, if you are happy. Yes or no? So it's very simple things which you notice. The thing is that happiness is one reason why we want to pursue. This is something which we think is okay. Everybody wants to be happy in their life, but the byproduct is that when you are happy, you are more able to perform. You are better in your relationship, and all these are the byproducts of that. So taking out time whenever whatever you are doing, 2 minutes, stretch your body in between. When you are sitting at a place for 6 hours, stretching your body for 2 minutes, I think you can still file your return. Yeah? Okay. So, any other questions we have? Okay. No? Santosh sir. Santosh sir, you are on mute. Santosh sir, you are on mute. Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, madam, for letting us know as to what are the keys of happiness and success. While, madam, one thing I would like to say that while the overall desire to lead a life that is free of stress, success, anxiety, and fear, while being replaced with happiness and success is constant. But we might want to be happy and successful in life. That is often far from the case, because usually we spend more of our time steeped in negative emotions than we do in positive ones. So the positive psychology is a must for getting happiness in your life. Secondly, one thing which I have studied today is that you have to manage your time very effectively in order to be happy and successfulness. That is a very important thing. And I'll quote one word from Swami Vivekananda, that what holds back us from achieving in life is, in the word of Vivekananda, is that take up one idea, make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. That is also one way to succeed. This is meant for professionals. When we are doing filing return of income or doing tax audit, then we should forget about the other clients. We should be concentrating on that client only. Swami Vivekananda was very specific. If you focus on your empowering morning routine, that will be very helpful. So with these few words, madam, I thank you for sparing your valuable time.
वन सेकंड
And
सर, आपका जो एक बात थी जो आपने बताई अभी जस्ट कि हैप्पीनेस इज नॉट द गोल सर, इट्स अ प्रोसेस. Happiness is not a goal actually. People say I will be happy. No, it's just a process, and you need to enjoy that process while doing it. Okay.
yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, so that is one thing, and it's just like by doing small thing, you will see that automatically there will some changes in your body. It will also help you to increase your immune system. And जो आपने बताया बहुत सही कहा, स्वामी विवेकानंद की तरह हमें टारगेट करना चाहिए पर्पसफुलनेस के साथ में, एंड दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
इसीलिए तो कहते हैं ना कि अगर सुबह अगर आप एक लिस्ट बना लेते हैं कि भाई हमको ये काम करने का है और इस सीरियटम में करने का है, तो जो हमने ये सीखा है कि जो सबसे हल्का काम उसको पहले करके खत्म कर दो और डिफिकल्ट टास्क को बाद में लेना है, जिससे कम से कम ये नहीं रहे कि कुछ भी नहीं हुआ.
हाँ, नहीं, सबकी अपनी अपनी सब्जेक्टिव प्रेफरेंस होता है, तो अलग अलग. मैं प्रेफर करती हूँ कि डिफिकल्ट टास्क पहले खत्म कर दो, फिर सब्जेक्ट कुछ इजी को आराम से कर लिया जाएगा. Maybe because of my profession is different from yours, so that could be the reason. But anyway.
आपको तो डिफिकल्ट कोई से सॉल्व करना है ना, आपके पास तो कोई आएगा डिफिकल्टी लेके ही, और हम लोग के रेगुलर काम बहुत होते हैं।
इसलिए तो कहा सर कि डिफिकल्ट को पहले खत्म करना चाहिए।
Okay, madam, thank you for joining.
Thank you
and
so much, sir.
deliberating on the subject.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.